Hello everyone and welcome to Dan Mizelia, and today we're going to be looking at a possible list of 5 characters, although I did 10 there, maybe 5 characters that could possibly get killed off or written out of the show of RWBY by the end of Volume 7. Now, if we look at it closely, we can see that Volume 3, they took out Pyrrha. Volume 5, they took out Vernal, I think that's her name, the lady you see in the background. And in Volume 6, they killed off Adam. So every volume since Volume 3, they've been killing off people, with the exception of Volume 4. Now, Volume 4 makes sense for them not to kill anybody, simply because Volume 4 was about getting over your losses and overcoming the fact that you've lost a dear friend, so losing somebody else in that volume wouldn't make sense from a story standpoint. So, we can exclude Volume 4 from this. However, if you do want to kind of nitpick, we did technically have Crow on Death's Door for the majority of Volume 4. So, it's safe to say that there might actually be a death coming up in Volume 7. Now, as of recording this video, which is Episode 10 of Volume 7, we do not know whether or not a character will be killed off. We only have fights and the plot roughly laid out for us that we can kind of speculate on and see if an outcome is going to be unfortunate for a certain character. So this is my basically personal list of 5 characters that I think might meet their end by the end of the volume. Now, I'm only making this video for a bit of fun, so please feel free to add your thoughts down in the comment section below and let me know who you think is likely to kind of die at the end of this volume. So, without further ado, let's just get started with number 5. Number 5, we have one, if not more, of the Happy Huntresses. Now, these are 3 Huntresses that work underneath Robin, but hear me out. I believe that in the right setup, any one of these girls would gladly give up their life for Robin's sake. Need to say, the election party, when they were kind of, they were very security heavy. They didn't want anything happening to Robin, didn't want anyone getting close to her. They would obviously lay down and protect her if the need arose. Now, I put these at number 5 because we don't know where these 3 ladies actually are. Except, you would think they're helping out people on Mantle at this moment in time in the volume. And for this to happen, Tyrion would have to first fight Robin and get her alone. And with the team that, Robin is with at the moment, that being Crow and Clover, it's not likely that she would be overwhelmed or on her own. It just doesn't seem that realistic. So, we know that Tyrion has good combat skills and speed, which, if in a one-on-one situation, he might actually overpower Robin. But to get into a one-on-one position, I don't see that happening. And then for one of these people to be nearby, to be able to intercept and to kind of jump in the way of a poison attack, just doesn't quite sit with me. However, the other way this could work is if the poison or infection that Tyrion sent and injected the lady with the microphone, as you see in the background here with, I think it was in episode 7 with the election party in, maybe that poison can come back and works kind of in a way that it goes dormant, and then when he just flicks a switch, it comes back in full effect, leaving her writhing in pain and potentially dying. Could work. And as much as I hate to say it, these girls seem like sheep that follow the herd and have no real impact or relevance on the plot. As there's a small possibility they would make their way into the plot or be useful further on down any volumes. So it is still possible for them to be killed off or written off from the show. However, it's quite unlikely. That's why they work their way onto number 5 on this list. Now, speaking of luck, we have number 4, Clover. Now, Clover, this is a difficult one, as Clover is a new character, and his character does have some weight behind him. However, that could also work in his against him, because if a character has a lot of weight behind them, they have a lot of responsibility, and then the impact of them dying is greater, is larger. Pyrrha, for example, she was one of the best fighters that we had in Beacon, and she was also one of the main reasons as to why Team Juniper was actually still a formidable team. However, they killed Pyrrha off, and it made a big impact. So, taking the leader of the Aesops out, you would think that will lead a big hole. And if he does die, who's the next Aesop leader? Because they haven't really shown anyone from the Aesops that would basically have the skills to lead a team of highly skilled individuals. And it just kind of seems that Clover is going to stay in that role and not, be anything but the leader of that group. Now, there are two things that could possibly happen that hint at Clover dying. Number one, the Aesops don't consider each other as friends, so they wouldn't really be upset if, their leader died in a fight, and this could also maybe hinder some development for the Aesops. Because, like I said, they don't see each other as friends, so maybe, just maybe, they have Clover killed off, and they actually do show emotion, and they actually showed them working together and seeing what camaraderie actually means to them, and how they can improve their own skills by using that. That's just an idea. Number two on the possible reasons as to why Clover could die is because he's not featured in the opening when fighting Tyrion. We only see Crow and Robin. Now, this will lead me to speculate that something must have happened to Clover. Was he called away? Who knows? Was he injured? Possibly. Or was he killed by Tyrion? Now, remember, he's been hanging out with Crow an awful lot. And although his semblance is fortune, remember, Crow's is misfortune. And that would negatively charge Clover's semblance. Could be a possible result. Now, another thing you can note about Clover and Crow hanging out together is the fact that Crow and Clover seem to be quite close together. They seem to have bonded as sort of partners. And we know that Crow doesn't like working with a partner because of his semblance, regardless of who the other character is and what their semblance is. Just like we saw against Tyrion, Crow, and RWBY, RWBY was unfortunate because of Crow. Maybe something happens that just puts Clover out of commission, or worse, kills him off. Therefore, number 4 is going to be Clover. Now, we're sticking with the theme of the fight with Tyrion. Come on, we're going to keep on with it. Because number 3, we actually have the madman himself, Tyrion. And I just love this photo. It's from Volume 4, and I just think it's great. So, number 3, we have Tyrion. Now, we all know this character to be crazy and off the rails. But in his current situation, it's going to be tough for Tyrion when facing Crow, Robin, and Clover. Honestly, I don't see how Tyrion could actually get out of this situation. Now, I'm placing Tyrion at number 3 because I honestly don't believe that nor Robin or Clover would be happy killing, Tyrion. They'd probably try to arrest him. And Crow, I'd like to think that Crow wouldn't, but I'm not too sure. However, the arrestal route, is that actually a word, arrestal? The route that I think they would go with Tyrion, if they manage to capture him, is to just arrest him and put him behind bars like he should be. And that would be the more ethical route, given the characters that we have involved in this particular matchup. However, this is Tyrion we're talking about, so maybe there's some type of poison that would kill himself to avoid capture. Maybe this is a last-minute struggle, and a last resort for his character because he doesn't want to get captured, tortured, and spill information. He doesn't seem like a character that would do that, but obviously Atlas would want to know everything they can about Salem, and they'll probably do anything in their power to do it. Now, another thing that has me a bit worried about Tyrion is that this wouldn't be a massive loss in terms of manpower for Salem's crew. She would still have Mercury and Hazel in terms of fighters. Oh, and an army of Grimm, I might just add. So, the impact from Salem's side wouldn't be that big, but it would be a big morale boost for the public of Mantle and Atlas, and other places throughout Remnants, knowing that a madman like Tyrion is dead and the streets are a bit safer. So for those reasons, I think Tyrion has a chance at dying. However, it's still very unlikely and quite slim. Now, before I get to number 2 and number 1, I do want to have a bit of a dark one. Gotta add a bit of a dark death scene. Now, this is going to be a bit of a stretch, and really, I don't see them going down this route because of how dark it is. But let's just open your minds up for a little bit. Whitley. This guy. So, basically, Volume 7 of RWBY has been basically a massive downfall of the Schnee family. A lot of things have happened around the Schnee family in Atlas, and they've not been good things. And Whitley has been forced to suffer a lot in this volume and in previous volumes. This is a character that idolized his father, even though his father was a scumbag. And to see his father get taken away and proven a cheater and a liar in working with the enemy and working with, crooks to basically put himself into power through unethical means, really. The fact that the plan that they took for Jacques to become a member of the council made people die, and see Jacques get arrested would negatively affect Whitley and his mental status. Plus, bearing in mind, as stated by his mother, he was abandoned by both Weiss and Winter. So you have here a character in Whitley who is a kid who's been abandoned by 2 of his sisters that he would hold dearly from a young age. He's been left by his father, who's been arrested, and all he's left with is a drunken mother who doesn't really have much, love for him, to be honest. His mother seems to pity him more than love him in any way you look at it. And honestly, who could blame him? Maybe Whitley finds it all too much because he's trapped in a household that he desperately wants to leave, but he doesn't have the power to do so himself. And the only way that he feels like he can leave is through death. Now that is a bit of a dark one, I do know, and they probably aren't going to do that because it will upset a lot of people, especially those with mental health issues anyway, but RWBY has done stuff in the past with its show that basically do correlate into real life sort of situations. Anime has done that as well, but I don't think they'll go down the suicide route. Just a thought though. Just a thought to keep in mind. So then, sticking with the Schnee household family, why don't we go with number 2, and that being Winter, or the Winter Maiden. So, next up, like I said, Winter or the Winter Maiden. Now we know that Cinder is on the hunt for the Winter Maiden's powers, and she'll do pretty much anything to get them. This could lead to a battle between Winter Schnee and Cinder Fool, with basically the Maiden powers on the line. And ultimately, Cinder would come out on top, and away with the Maiden's powers. Or, maybe not the powers, but she'll definitely be able to take Winter down if the fight doesn't get interrupted. Meaning that either the Winter Maiden is taken out and dead, or Winter herself has fallen. Now, this could also mean that both fall in this at the end of this volume. Now, the impact they would have on this would be pretty big, because it would be some really good development for Weiss to overcome the fact that his sister has just died. Oh, and let me swing back to the Dark One a minute. Knowing that his sister left him and she's now dead, ooh, more impact for Whitley's character. But back on track. So Weiss would have some good development because she'll have to deal with the loss of her dear sister. We know that Weiss and Winter are pretty connected. They're pretty much together. They're quite good sisters in terms of, families go. And this would be a massive blow to Weiss. But it'll also be a massive blow to Ironwood and Atlas, because they would have A, failed to protect the Winter Maiden and the powers, and B, they would have lost Winter Schnee, who is a very valuable member of the Atlas forces. Now, bear in mind that this could also give Winter a big showcase and a big shine on their character, as she doesn't have a lot to do in the past 2 volumes. I said Winter, I meant to say Cinder. So let's start that again. Now, bearing in mind, this could also give Cinder a big showcase and a shine on her character, as Cinder hasn't really done a lot in the past 2 volumes. And it will show us as the viewers that she still has what it takes to take down a highly skilled opponent. Because let's be honest, Winter is pretty skilled in her combat and her summonings. So to see a battle between Winter and Cinder, I think would be great. And it'll be a very good reminiscent and a very good kind of homage to the Pyrrha versus Cinder match that we got at the end of Volume 3. And it could end the same way. And lastly, number 1, we have Watts. So, as you might know, we currently have a fight about to take place within this volume, where it looks to be quite intriguing, and this leads me to my number 1 pick, which would be Arthur Watts. Now, we have Amity Tower basically hanging in the balance in this battle, and it's safe to say that Ironwood would do just about anything to prevent Watts from getting it and controlling it. And James is even a soldier himself, so killing probably comes naturally to him when protecting the things he cares about. And Ironwood knows that unlike killing a fighter in Salem's crew... Wait, what? Ironwood knows that if he could take down someone like Watts, who is a big vital part in Salem's, group, because let's be honest, Watts is a very smart man and is very difficult to replace. If you take down Watts, Salem doesn't have a strategist or a tech support like Watts actually is. Remember, he's a scientist, he's an electrician. He has all these back cards and backdoor keys that allow him to basically move around unseen and undetected, which allows Salem and her other subordinates to get into places that she wouldn't normally be able to get into. Losing Watts would be a massive blow and would cripple Salem's tactical front, stopping any hacking advances on Atlas, Mantle, or anywhere else, especially on their software and gadgets. They would be able to rest in peace in knowing that Salem couldn't actually get them with their technology. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what if they arrest him? Now, that again doesn't actually come into play here, because there'll be so much fear of him returning and destroying Amity Tower that it would forever hang over Ironwood, and this would basically gnaw at his anxiety and basically eat him from the inside out. Not knowing if Watts was basically gonna come back, and if he does, he knows full well what Watts is capable of. So I think Ironwood, if given the chance, and, having the chance, would actually kill Watts just out the black and just say that, it was self-defense. I had to do it. Because we all know that Watts would kill Ironwood in a heartbeat because of this. Now, do I think this is going to be easy? No. But I do believe that out of all of the characters that I've represented in this video, and all the characters that we've seen from this volume so far, at present, the character of Watts has the most reason and the most plot-driving reasons to be the death of Volume 7. Now, this could just be the death of Salem's side, and there could be a death on the hero side as well. However, if they kill off Watts at the end of this volume, it would make the victory much more relieving for the people of Atlas and Mantle, and it would basically give the heroes a win, which they desperately need at this moment in time. So there you have it. 5 characters that I believe has a chance of dying in this volume. Let me know all your thoughts and who you think has the most chance at dying in RWBY, if anyone, down in the comment section below. Leave all your thoughts. Like the video if you like the video, disliked it if you dislike it, I guess. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. And until next time, bye.